So ZEST was one of our players that we covered for our day one and was unable to make it through, but now finds himself up against Keen in a Code A qualifying match for day 2, which admittedly is a bit surprising. I mean, Kozan and I had this conversation a little bit earlier, Snoopy, that the added benefit of having Code A is we have so many extra opportunities for people to qualify, but that means a lot of our mainstays might not be able to advance so easily. So seeing ZEST trying to qualify at the last second here feels a little bit strange.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you think of ZEST, you think of probably the top 2 current Protosses in the world right now, or at least in the Korean, definitely. But yeah, it's kind of a little bit strange to see ZEST trying to qualify for Code S. It feels like he should be there automatically, but unfortunately, this is how the format of GSL goes.
And I think keeping the water that much more clear by allowing greater chances for new names to get into the mix, but also forcing some of our mainstay top 8, top 4 players to play and show off their goods earlier on, I think is a good thing. I think it provides for exciting games, and it keeps everybody honest here, Snoopy.
Yeah, it was like I think a couple of years ago, maybe 1 to 2 years ago, where there was this one GSL season where both Zoun and Prince, and I think even Nightmare, if I recall correctly, qualified for Code S, and it was a bit of surprise. It was a bit surprising for our viewers because, like, you know, these are not like, you know, mainstay names. They're not like known, really established players, but they managed to make it, and you know, I think the format kind of allows for that opportunity if, you know, one season they can kind of play at their best. And of course, we've seen how Zoun has progressed. He has become, I mean, he's making his way to becoming one of the top Protosses, a tier 1 Protoss in Korea right now. Prince and Nightmare still, you know, trying to improve, but again, it's a pretty good, great accomplishment to at least get into a Code S during a season.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree entirely. Kind of an interesting thing unfolding here in game number 1. We do have a ZEST with a Dark Shrine. Now, Keen is going to be able to get all the way up in here, and he's going to be able to spot this, so he will see that Dark Shrine. Hopefully, he got a chance to click on it, but it's a proxy gateway out on the map that will create some interesting interactions here. ZEST is going to do his best to deflect a lot of the damage off of the Hellions. The Hellions did manage to pick up 6 probe worth of kills, but will this Dark Shrine just end the game? I'm not sure.
Yeah, immediately throwing down the engineering bay. That does finish, so at least he will have some turrets. He's already making that Raven, so plenty of detection here coming out of Keen. However, a part of the DT build here against Terran players is that even if you don't, you know, surprise and kind of catch your opponent off guard, you can still morph them into Archons and kind of do a Warp Prism to Archon kind of harassment. So it's not quite over yet. Once, you know, the Terran player gets detection, there's still opportunities for the Protoss to get damage.
Well, and Keen is doing a good job of responding to this. He does place down a really strong scan in the bunker. Already filled with units, is able to shove those DTs off, but absolutely, like you said, Archons are a great follow-up choice here for ZEST as he wants to get continued damage. Now, the Raven's going to be able to come out and provide some additional cover. They're not going to be looking for DTs much longer here, rather trying to just create some zoning opportunities for the Cyclone to get some extended damage. This Archon will be able to fight in just a little bit once those shields regenerate, but it's going to be the Blink Stalker timing that will be the most devastating thing here for ZEST as he comes on forward. Keen's going to have a lot to try and defend here.
Yeah, and it's going to be really crucial to get that tank up in the high ground. Now, unfortunately, there's no Warp Prism or Observer or even hallucinated scouting to kind of scout the high ground, so that tank will be safe for the time being, and the Keen is going to go ahead and start placing some extra bunkers, making sure you got those extra defenses.
There was maybe a mine that made it down over here? I'm not quite sure. The probes were pulled in the Fight Club for something. Giant blink forward, though, to get on top of the bunker. The bunker's immediately going to go down. This Raven is going to have to be drawn into the fight. An auto turret immediately gets picked off, and the workers pulled off of the line. Oh, if that Archon comes forward, that's going to be so devastating for those workers. But right now, both gases get canceled. The orbital command is going to be under fire. I don't think it's going to be at risk of perishing at this point. The tank's been brought down to the low ground. There's plenty of units to repair. A follow-up bunker is going to be brought in, but that's a lot of damage here for Keen.
Yeah, for sure. Well defended. And ooh, look at this Liberator in the back door as well. Gonna catch ZEST. And luckily, ZEST does have some nice response time. We'll go ahead and kind of delay some of the mining here, but not too bad. But the thing I'm worried about is that ZEST's third base is really late. Only now is it starting up now, and usually you want to get it around like the 4-minute mark, maybe 4:30, latest maybe 5 if you're going for a 2 base. But yeah, this is going to be quite late for our red Protoss, and Keen, as you can see, already very close in the worker count. And then once you count those mules in, yeah, that pretty much is a looks like a little bit of a pause there. All right, ZEST. But luckily, we're going to replay, so we don't have to wait.
The world's fastest pause.
So fast, you didn't even catch it.
Yeah, it's just crazy how that works out. So, ends up being a blessing for us, so we didn't have to worry about it. But ZEST, post-pause, going to toss down those Templar archives. He's going to bring up a little bit extra production as well, getting 3 more of those Gateway. Twilight Council is going to be researching Charge, and that's about 2/3 of the way done. That's going to really add a lot of benefit to that ground army here that will want to supplement in with those Stalkers. Stalkers and Archons alone will not cover the bill, but add in a few thousand ground charge lots, and suddenly you've got yourself a really good anti-bio force here. But Keen, I think, is going to be anxious to try and move out here. He knows that he has a little bit of an advantage. 58-35. He got a really good jump on ZEST's initial push, and he has to feel really confident moving out with his supercharged army.
Yeah, and this is a great timing for Keen, because not only is his combat shoot just done, his Marauders concussive shells, as well as +1 upgrade, is about to finish. So everything is lining up for a nice timing. And what do we have here for ZEST? No storms, no upgrades, no shield batteries at the third, and I'm not quite sure if ZEST can hold on to this third.
It's going to be a tough call, and he immediately gets worried as well. The probes immediately pulled off of the line. Those tanks are going to be far enough back that they will remain mostly safe here. But good push forward here by ZEST. Will be able to get on top of this forward army. The bio, though, is largely not dealt with just yet. Only now do we see those zealots coming on in. That is going to force the army back in a way. But it's a second drop here into the natural that's going to produce some more damage as well. Not a lot of worker kills, though. I think all of the workers might have gotten, well, not entirely pulled, but 19 overall total kills. I think that this actually might, not going to quite go down, but Keen is definitely interested in keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of delaying his probe mining, and, you know, already he's not quite healthy in terms of the worker count compared to his opponents, so you add that up with the delayed mining. Can't really pull up the income graph right now, but I suspect that the income graph is favoring Keen right now, as he is starting to establish his third base and still at it at his main base.
Pretty decent engagement here for ZEST. He's going to be able to shove this army back and away, but look at this. I mean, triple prong aggression here by Keen. Keen is keeping ZEST back on his toes, not allowing him a comfortable transition into the later portions of this game. Keen's still sitting up 135 supply. The worker counts are almost even with mules. That's going to give Keen just a slight advantage, but look at the army counts here, Snoopy. 85 to 66. Granted, those are going to be a little bit squishier units, but being up double the army supply, that's always a great feeling.
Yeah. Oh, a bad rally will allow Keen to pick off that War Prism there, so he can't even go across the map to harass. And, this is pretty much the army here for ZEST. Let's see if he can hold on.
Well, Great Concave, though, gives ZEST as much of an engagement as you possibly can. Is there going to be enough bio here to shut this down, though? I don't think so initially. Keen is going to have to lift up and back off. But ZEST is going to force the issue here. Giant link forward, trying to pick off one of those medevacs. Grabs a few of those Marauders as well. But I think all Keen needs to do is group his army up in the center once again. And he's going to have a scary force that ZEST is not going to want to underestimate.
Yeah, currently it's basically Keen's game to lose, but he does not want to take unfavorable trades there. I mean, his bio army is on 1/1 upgrade. So really he needs to just kind of group up his force and not go in with only a small group of his units. He wants to group them up, have that DPS added up with those upgrades, and then I think that would be a much better fight for him. Here we go. He's going to go ahead and attempt another attack here and shut down this dirt base of ZEST. Anti-armor missile actually doesn't quite get a lot, but ZEST is trying to blink for his life, but I don't know. Bio's army is going to go ahead and start kiting. Oh, storm drop. That might actually stop this momentum.
The storms go largely down onto those Marauders, and Marauders are able to soak up those storms. They brought their rain gear, Snoopy. They're not going to let a little storm scare them, but it is a very, very softened army here. Look at all of these units in the orange and red. Even just a few stalkers will be able to zip things up. But here come the reinforcements, and those reinforcements are not going to be as easy to deal with here. A few more warpins will extend this just by a little, but EMPs will make sure that it gets shut down, and Keen takes game number 1 here.
You know, Keen actually recently joined Afrika Freaks. If you guys are not aware, Keen just recently completed his military and recently came back to the game of StarCraft 2. And great to see Afrika Freaks believing in Keen so much. Was able to sign him on May 18th, so just a couple of weeks ago. And really interested to see how he progresses this year as he, kind of get his foot wet or get his feet wet back into the game of StarCraft 2.
I was secretly hoping that Keen had kind of like a small fear of laddering once again. So he was just getting 1 foot wet, just sticking it in, seeing like, oh, it's really cold. Tempest proxies, void rays. Okay, but no, he's just gonna get both of his feet in there, and clearly he's holding his own here against a player in ZEST who has ZEST served his military service yet?
Nope, not yet.
So that's got to be coming up here. What feels like soon, maybe.
Yeah. I think he's I believe he was set to do it this year, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe there was a bit of delay, or he was able to get a delayment or something. I'm not sure. At the very least, I think within maybe the next year or two, I'm suspecting that he might, have to go ahead and do his military service.
Okay, so who are all of the people that we lost in 2021? We do have, worth saying before we finish this thought, we do have a reactor pumping out double Reapers, and then 2 more barracks. So actually, maybe we'll hold on to that question, because it seems like things are going to get a little interesting. Is ZEST going to be able to spot this, though? He will see the double Reaper, so worth noting that that's going to be happening. He does get a decent scout on that, but he's not going to see the other 2 barracks just yet.
Yeah, so he's going to be pretty much in the dark for the time being, with the exception of that barracks with the reactor. But is there anything to defend these 2 Reaper? Okay, there is a stalker at home, so he should be fine.
Is it just 1 stalker? Yeah, it is. Now, theoretically, I mean, these could kite this out, but no, they're just gonna be very careful. One of them already going down, so that's gonna have to back off. What, 1 kill? 1 kill, yeah. Not that big of a deal.
Or we'll go ahead and jump in for a secondary attack, harassment, but with the shield battery there, not going to suffer any damage on ZEST's part.
It feels like both players are working really hard to build up for a push, and I think ZEST is wanting to force the issue here, but fortunately for Keen, he's got a fair number of Marines present, so he's going to be able to hold off this initial force. Twilight Council already done in the back of the main base. It will be a Blink Stalker progression here, but the Keen is trying to find a way to end the game long before that. He's got double tech lab here. Looks like we've got stim pack and combat shield. I was surprised. I figured we might see just a little bit of concussive shells, especially since he's cranking out double Marauder here. But it seems like he just wants to get those Marines up and running as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised too, but I guess with Blink, concussive shells doesn't quite work out as well because it could just kind of blink away. But yeah, his Marines at the very least will have some extra health points with that combat shield. Now it's going to be important for ZEST to start making those shield batteries because this attack actually hits really hard, and if you don't have any shield batteries, you're basically going to rely on incredible blink micro and hoping that the Terran player will kind of mess up somehow. So if you can, it looks like he will start adding those shield batteries. I think that hallucinated scout did kind of get an eye out on to see what Keen is going for, and oh my goodness, the boys has been pulled.
Oh, and the boys are taking a different route than the rest of the army. ZEST actually almost would have intercepted that. I think that would have been a very scary scenario for Keen had all those SCVs been encountered out in the middle of the map, but instead everything's going to get pulled into this big choke here. Giant stim forward, though. Great Guardian Shield, though, will mitigate a lot of the damage as it goes forward. But here are the shield batteries, and here is the overcharge. Getting on top of both of those sentries, actually giving them a lot of life in this fight. However, both of them are going to be depleted here and killed off. This is still a lot of bio. What does ZEST have in response to this? There are no shield batteries into that natural expansion. The probes have been pulled as well. And this could potentially be really good damage here. ZEST has a fair number of workers to lose, and he's going to get great engagements here. I think he's done it. I think he's held.
Yeah, I think he is. And GG's. It looks like ZEST will go ahead and tie up the series and force it to a game number 3.
Well, why don't you introduce our player in the bottom right?
All right, here at the bottom right, he's our yellow Terran player from Fika Freaks. Give it up for Keen.
And spawning in the top left. 1 win away from advancing on to Code A. For Dragon Phoenix Gaming, this is our Red Protoss player, ZEST. It's happening, Snoopy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's happening. This didn't work out so well when Cure ran this against Armani, but the scouting paths are going to be significantly different here in this game. That being said, we already have a probe that's kind of on the way. Is that going to be able to scout far enough? No, it's not going to take a jaunt to the right. So as it sits right now, are just going to be a fair number of Marines that lock this in. But look at that. Very bold play. The Nexus goes down almost immediately here, Snoopy.
Yeah, and Keen actually had the ability to block it, but he wanted ZEST to actually throw it down. He wants him to waste all those 400 minerals on something that is not going to help him against this proxy. So I love that decision. And this is going to catch ZEST by surprise.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a wild moment here. Keen's going to drop a bunker immediately in the middle here. 3 shield batteries go down almost instantly here. But now if you are ZEST, you have to pull the probes, and here they are. All of the workers have been pulled off of the line. Immediately they have to be segmented up. There is one adept that is going to get a lot of value down, but how many workers are going to die before that point? The bunker's been allowed to finish as well. The shield battery is here, though. The question is whether or not it's going to matter. I think this is going to be what saves him.
Well, so far it's looking doing okay. Although I would love the Adepts to focus on those SCVs instead of trying to attack the bunker. Oh man, these SCVs hailing these bunkers pretty well. And oh man, all these shield batteries energy are pretty drained now. But I think he's just gonna barely kill that bunker off. Ooh, that was close.
Wow, this is what an insane hold here. It cost him 11 probes, but I mean, Keen lost a lot to that as well. 8 workers, 6 units. It actually comes out worse for Keen, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not only do you pull the SCVs, but those are SCVs that could have been mining, right? And so, yeah, but you know, all in all, I'll still say Keen is not in too bad of a shape. I mean, at the very least, at the end of the day, he does have a little bit more workers than the Protoss, and that's not a bad place to be in. If you're in the position where you're equal or a little bit ahead in the worker count, you know, it's still okay. However, his tech is going to be quite late, as only now is he's going to start mining those gases.
Well, the good news is he was able to defend his high ground, getting that supply depot up in the last second. If ZEST was have been able to get 3 Adepts up into the main base, that would have been over. It just would have been GG, sure. Tap out, feel bad for an entire season as you had a missed opportunity. Keen, though, did push out one more Reaper here with this barracks. So going to try and maximize a little bit of the building production. Did come at the cost of a canceled Nexus, basically just to get all those shield batteries down. So fortunately for Keen, the economic impact is still going to be felt for ZEST as he does now throw down his second base. But no second command center just yet for Keen. It looks like Keen's just focusing on getting his production up. He's got that starport, he's got his factory going. The economy kind of on the back burner for a moment.
Yeah. Oh, looks like he is gonna prepare. Okay, now he does drop down that CC. So looks like a little, I guess 50% or so ahead for ZEST in terms of the second base. But yeah, both of these players are gonna go ahead and just stabilize, just work up their macro and start building up to that army composition that they would like to do so. But in the meantime, there is a 2 Widowmine medevac drop, and that gets completely scouted here by ZEST. Now we should see him start getting into position, but oh no, was he not paying attention? He's moving his army out. Okay, he's just trying to accept it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is just a good moment to get Keen off kilter. More than anything, just buying himself time. Are there any? There aren't any shield batteries though, so that's a bit concerning. If those mines can get in there and get planted, they will find some damage here, but they're going to be forced down into the natural where there just aren't that many workers. So losing 1 probe is minimal damage. He can handle that.
Yeah, unfortunately there's no stalkers here to snipe out that medevac, so he will be able to save at least 1 mine and go for a secondary drop. But thus far, ZEST does defend with very minimal losses.
Yeah, it ends up working out okay.
I just scouted or saw the 4 Widowmine medevac here on the top side. That might actually be the game changer here. Let's see if these probes can.
Oh yeah, where are these probes gonna go? Oh, okay. The mines are just gonna. I mean, he's gonna be able to pick up and get out with all of them, so not necessarily a horrible situation if he can get out. That is. Oh yeah, there's the boost. So that ends up being okay. Keen has tons and tons of mines queued up here. Center left of the map, more mine drops in place as well. I like it. I like this harassment here by Keen.
Yeah, it reminds me very much of like Maru's playstyle. Back then, he would just basically Widowmine the Protoss to death, and you know it just really adds up because you know every time the Widowmines are dropped, they had to pull the probes, so less mine. And, oh no, these probes are. Oh my god, that was so close. That was so close. Woo.
Wow, that ended up almost being like the play of the game there. Keen trying so hard to get ZEST to fall for the look at my hand, and then hit him with the haymaker on the backside while he's not looking. But
Yeah.
You got to catch Zest pretty early in the morning with a trick like that.
It looks like Zest will go ahead and start preparing for that. Oh, I thought he was going to place down the third base, but looks like he's going to go ahead and try to do more of a harassment on his side, going down that Dark Shrine as well as that robotics bay, or sorry, robotics facility. We'll go ahead and try to do some DT harass. And I feel like Zest, after defending those Widowmine drops, I think it would have been better if he would just drop down that third base. I feel like that DT play is kind of past its time right now, and it might not quite as well or work out quite as well. But we'll see. Keen looks like he's preparing for an attack, so maybe all in all, it probably would have been best if Zest did not plant down that third base, or else this Bioforce might have been able to get a snipe on it. But we shall see, because the Dark Shrine is about to finish.
I have a thought about the Dark Shrine, and I think the Dark Shrine is going to be a good play, mostly because if Keen's going to start investing a lot of his orbital energy into scans rather than mules, that means Zest can kind of shore up a little bit of the economic disadvantage here, despite the fact that he doesn't have a third base just yet. Oh, Keen's going to catch Zest out here with those stalkers. They're going to get completely obliterated. It's buying a little bit of time for the Warp Prism to get out onto the map. This is got to be a calculated moment here for Zest. He cannot slip on this. He's down 30 supply. His forward stalkers are now basically out of the game. They're going to get picked up here. Oh, one quick blink does manage to hold on here. Zest is going to have 3 Dark Templar and a Dream, because look at all of this army, Snoopy. It's diving right on into the main base.
Yeah, good thing is that he does have a shield battery, but that is going to get sniped down immediately, and the rest of the army will have to go ahead into the main base to defend. In the meantime, the Dark Templars are sniping away at those SCVs at the main base of Keen. But the question is, can Zest clean this army up? The DTs are actually doing a nice job dwindling the numbers.
I mean, this is a nail-biting hold here, but right now Keen is clearly coming out to be the winner. Look at the army advantage, 58-18, but there's just nothing to deal with these DTs back at home. There are scans available, but he's trying to reserve them as much as possible. Where do you go with them? Do you put them down at home? Do you put them down across the map? Keen is deciding that he's going to try and finish things off back at home. He has pushed the army away for now, but Zest has not a whole lot to speak of. Sure, Keen's third base did get picked off, but a Viking is now going to be able to shut down this Warp Prism. That's going to be removed from the map. What do you do if you're Zest? You're down 40 supply. How do you get back?
Yeah, that's the big question. Does he go for like an all-in attack, or does he try to macro out of this? I'm not quite sure, because right now he's only working off of 6 gateways, and that's not a lot of gateways for an all-in. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and add in that robotics bay, maybe possibly get a disruptor hit, because really, there are a couple of units that kind of can bring you back into the game. One of them is DTs, of course, for Protoss, but unfortunately that has been scouted, or that has been revealed to Keen. And so the next best thing is those disruptors. If you can get to like maybe 2 or 3 huge disruptor hits, that can kind of swing the momentum back into your favor. But I don't think Keen is going to give Zest that time of day to even get those numbers of disruptors.
I think you're absolutely right. If Keen's smart, he takes his opportunity to strike while the iron's hot. And here comes the bio push. Oh, this is not a great situation when the DT or the stalkers have to blink out of their main base just to get into safety. Now, DTs are going to be spawned in defensively. That's going to be very, very helpful. But Keen now is going to be able to have control of that third base. Oh, Keen, there's nothing here. I mean, even the small amount of force, I think he would have been able to knock this down just a little bit further, but choosing not to sacrifice the army, he did want to keep that alive. The Zealots absolutely would have cleaned everything up, so seeing that third base in position does make that okay. There's going to be ghosts on the backside of this for Keen. Zest now having the opportunity to get those Colossus up, but a big moment here for Keen. Keen's not put down a third of his own yet. He's tried a couple of times, but he's been stopped twice.
Yeah, it seems like both players weren't keen to throw down the dirt base. Yes, pun intended. But yeah, Zest has his dirt base up and running. Starting to get that saturated. No dirt yet for Keen, so I mean he's gonna either have to throw it down really soon, or maybe he might want to go ahead and just pull the Essig and go for a YOLO all in. But here we go. Gonna come. Oh, nice EMP there. Does lower the shield here of some of these units, but Colossus has joined into the forest, but not quite quick enough to save that dirt base.
That maybe was the EMP to save the game for Keen. Keen able to take out that second base. This army is just absolutely hopeless to try and engage. And now Keen's able to zone with those mines. Zest is having to force his micro into dealing with those. And while that happens, Keen just rotates into a different spot, and now suddenly Zest doesn't have a great way to engage on this. 114 to 73, he retreats back to those shield batteries, but they're only going to provide him so much relief from this unrelenting army, as there's more Marauders being brought in, more Vikings getting added into the mix. They're going to do so great against any potential Colossus that come out, maybe any more warp prisms that he has to try and deal with. Things are constantly starting to go in Keen's favor, and it's starting to look really good for him.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little bit of a mistake there by Zest to take that engagement, that fight there, because his Colossus actually did not have Thermal Lance during that engagement. It was only after the engagement that Thermal Lance did finish. And also, all his shoe batteries are back there at the natural, so a little bit of, I guess, a mistake there by Zest to take that engagement and that fight at that time. But right now, he's starting to make his way up the Colossus count. His third Colossus is in the production tab, but as you mentioned, those Vikings are also in production, and that is going to be the counter to the Colossus.
Oh, and getting great snipes off on the DTs that are roaming around the map trying to find third bases to go kill. Keen's able to get his third base out on sight. He's going to have a missile turret there, so that means the invisible men will not be very effective in preventing that. And I think that Keen has reached kind of a breaking point here. He just should be able to push on forward. There are 3 shield batteries with a fair amount of energy. Shield battery overcharge has now been activated here. This is a pretty decent engagement here. Keen's got a really nice concave, and he's gonna be able to pick off one of the Colossus, 2 of the Colossus. The third Colossus stands, but it does finally fall. And Keen wrestles away a victory from a reigning GSL top contender. 2-1, Keen advances into Code A. Well played.